We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And remember to turn the microphones on, turn your cell phones off, and we'll have roll call.
Mayor Schomburger.
Here.
Counselor Anderson.
Here.
Counselor Baker.
Here.
Counselor Becker.
Here.
Counselor Dykes.
Here.
Counselor Quinlan.
Here.
Everyone has a copy of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd. Are there any corrections? Hearing none, they stand approved as submitted. Visitors and delegations, you're later, so, yep, all right. Management A, second and final reading of ordinance number 844-16. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance on second reading?
I'll make a motion that we adopt for the second and final reading ordinance number 844-16.
All right, and second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do you want to add to publish by title only?
Do you want to
Published by title only.
Okay.
Published by,
Thanks.
okay. And.
Okay.
Yep. roll
Mayor
call vote?
Schomburger.
No.
Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Baker.
Yes.
Counselor Becker.
Yes.
Counselor Dykes.
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan.
Yes.
B, first reading of ordinance 845-16. Repealing provisions of Article 4. Is there a counselor who wants to introduce the ordinance and read the ordinance by title and then a motion?
I'd like to introduce ordinance number 845-16, an ordinance repealing provisions in Article 4 of Chapter 10, Brush Municipal Code, related to public indecency and indecent exposure.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. For the publication on first reading, right?
Okay.
Do we have a second to discuss, Chuck? Because I want to say something
Yes,
about that ordinance.
discussion now.
I had thought a little bit about this after you came to us in the work session, Corey. I really think it is the right thing to do. And one advantage that I can think of for citizens here in Brush is that when these cases move to municipal court, from municipal court to county court or district court, these are the kind of cases where somebody should have a lawyer. And I think that moving these on to county court or district court, if somebody can't afford a lawyer, they can at least have a public defender, which they aren't entitled to in municipal court.
That's correct. We don't have a public defender system in the municipal court. That's another good point why it's best for these charges to be filed in the county court or the state court if it's a felony violation. And the other is this municipal court doesn't have the authority or the jurisdiction to manage these cases if it goes to a conviction because they implicate sex offender status and sex offender lists. We can't deal with those in the municipal court. That's a good point, Janine.
Thank you both.
Anything else? Roll call vote.
Okay. Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Baker.
Yes.
Counselor Becker.
Yes.
Counselor Dykes.
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan.
Yes.
Mayor Schomburger.
Yes. Number C, wastewater utility agreement between the City of Brush and Mastronardi Produce.
Okay, Dale's not here tonight, so I'll just fill in. And this is the wastewater utility agreement that we've been working on for quite a while. At the last council work session, we discussed it in a little bit further detail. And this is for the Mastronardi tomato greenhouse here in Brush to attach to our wastewater system. And it's for a temporary discharge, part-time throughout the year that they'll be using the city system. But we have some pretty good safety mechanisms in there to protect us for what comes into the city. And also they will be required to pay the $165,000 plant investment fee to attach onto the city system. We went over that in a lot more detail at the last work session, but we're here because we do have the executed copy by Mastronardi in your packet tonight for approval, and staff is recommending an approval.
Is there a motion to approve the wastewater utility agreement?
I, go ahead. I move that we approve the wastewater utility agreement between the City of Brush and Mastronardi Produce USA Incorporated.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Anything further to add?
As I think I mentioned at the last council meeting, this agreement is set up on the charge basis to deal with the impact that this flow presents to the plant. It's not based on a hydraulic load, because that's large, but it's a fairly clean load that's deposited into the system. So Mastronardi was very favorable of the financial arrangements that Dale Colorick and John McGinn came up with, signed it right away without any objections.
All right,
So we have a good agreement here.
good. Roll call vote.
Counselor Baker,
Yes.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomberger,
Yes.
Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
Number D, Proclamation 2016-1.
Oops.
Proclaiming
2016.
proclaiming April 2016 as Child Abuse Prevention Month. Monty, are you going to discuss that?
Not lots to discuss. It's a proclamation that we'd like to put in place, just recognizing that month, and it's very similar to other proclamations that the mayor reads and proclaims and endorses, and so we're gonna request that the mayor read the proclamation and approve that proclamation.
Is there a motion first before we?
I make a motion that we approve the proclamation 2016-1 affirming April 2016 as Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Second.
Set motion second, and roll call vote.
Counselor Becker,
Yes.
Counselor Dykes,
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan,
Yes.
Mayor Schomberger,
Yes,
Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Baker.
Yes.
and the proclamation reads, and I'm glad to read it, a proclamation affirming April 2016 Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are key to the state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life, while children are our most precious resource, they are also our most vulnerable. Whereas children have a right to thrive, learn, and grow to their full potential, and whereas the prevention of child abuse and neglect strengthens Colorado's families and communities and ensures the opportunity for children to develop in healthy, trusting families, schools, and neighborhoods, and where that consequently builds the foundation of society, and whereas the City of Brush is currently implementing initiatives for improving the safety and well-being of children and families across Colorado, and whereas we must come together as partners to keep children safe, ensure that the voices of our children are heard by all, and extend a helping hand to children, and whereas each of us plays a role in the prevention of child abuse and neglect, we encourage anyone concerned about the safety and well-being to report to 1-844-CO4-KIDS. Whereas I call upon all Brush community members to provide safe, stable, and nurturing relationships and environments for our children, free of violence, abuse, and neglect, we can ensure that Colorado's children will grow to their full potential as the next generation of leaders helping to secure the future of this community, state, and nation. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Brush formally designates April 2016 Child Abuse Prevention Month. Given under my hand and seal of the City of Brush this 28th day of March 2016, Chuck Schoenberger. That's signed and you have a copy.
I just want to thank the City of Brush for proclaiming April 2016 National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I appreciate you guys joining with the other community partners and keeping our kids safe.
Thank you for being here, and it is a wonderful proclamation, so it's a
Thank you
great
so
thing.
much again.
We brought some pens and some backups, and I also have a box for you, Monty. If you
Super.
would like to pass out to your
Oh,
city
super,
staff.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Moving on to finance.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve disbursements and payroll from March 14th through 28th of 2016 totaling $220,000, $220,082.13.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Counselor Dykes?
Yes.
Counselor Quinlan?
Yes.
Mayor Schonberger?
Yes.
Counselor Anderson?
Yes.
Counselor Baker?
Yes.
Counselor Becker?
Yes.
Moving on to staff reports. First one here is the police. Corey.
Everything's staying pretty steady as far as calls for service from the last time I reported. Big incident to talk about is the storm we had last week. Appears everything went pretty well with the shelter. A lot of the feedback we've gotten either through Facebook or just contact with folks, everybody was pretty impressed. We will be spending some time on review and critique of that, because nothing's perfect and we always want to make it better. So make us even a little more prepared the next time something like this may happen. Aside from that, we are working with the fire department, the Brush Fire Department here to utilize some of the resources they have for training. We're going to be doing some, they're going to be providing some training for us as far as professional rescuer, first aid CPR. They have instructors there that'll be able to give us the opportunity to keep it in-house, keep the costs down. And then we're kind of in the early stages of scheduling a TIMS class. It's a program that CDOT's really pushing, and it's a real positive training for law enforcement, EMS, fire, anybody who responds to motor vehicle accidents on public roadways. It's based on the premise of what can we do to hurry up and get officers, firefighters, and EMS off the street away from harm, because that's one of our real danger zones when we're on the side of the road dealing with accidents. So we'll be getting that scheduled here probably in the near future. We should be seeing something within the next month or two. And we'll be encompassing, like I said, Brush Fire Department, the Police Department, and probably along with that, EMS and a few will be invited along with that. So that's about it.
Thank you. Next on the list is city clerk.
Okay. Just reminding you, April 4th is our citizen outreach greeting at the course, and so far Counselor Anderson and Mayor Schoenberger will be attending. And I just need your CML registrations, and I have the book for additional shirt orders if anyone needs a brush shirt. That's it.
Community development. Karen.
Just one item to highlight this evening, and that is our 50/50 tree program is about to wind down. People who are interested in getting a tree at half the wholesale cost need to come into the front desk at City Hall by the end of the day Wednesday to get that tree reserved and paid for. Prices are actually fairly stout, so even when you're paying half that wholesale cost, it is a little bit of an impact on the budget. So, you know, if it's a $150 tree, you know, the customer's cost is $75. So as far as I know, there's still plenty available, so anybody interested in a new tree for the front yard, please come on in. We're happy to get you lined out.
Thank you.
Karen, when is the tree, when is Arbor Day this year?
It is Friday, April 15th at 12:30. The mayor has an obligation, which I'm sorry about, but our mayor pro tem has agreed to step in and fill that role. And it will be over at Sunset Park on basically between the pond and the ditch. There's a pretty bare area there and desperate need of trees along that part of the bike path.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. And city administrator.
Okay, just a few items. The phase 4 of our downtown revitalization project is underway. You'll see east of the city of Brush, you'll see out by the cell barn where there's the pond, the new stormwater pond being constructed. And so you'll see a lot of dirt being hauled out of there. And then you'll also see that over by Doty Pond, you're gonna see that big open area. They're dropping off the dirt there to build up for that future baseball field. They need to elevate that land up out there a little bit. So that's slated to take about a month's worth of time to keep digging that out and moving the dirt. And Del Colrick's gonna be coordinating with the Chamber of Commerce to set up a day where he can go over the construction schedule once the project gets to the downtown area, so that the businesses know and residents know we anticipate that phase of the project's gonna take a couple months to get that one completed there. So we'll have more information once Del Colrick gets his meeting together with the chamber. Also, the police chief interview process, that starts this week. There's a citizens panel, police panel, and then finally a department head meet and greet that will narrow down that pool of candidates. And I believe there's 5 candidates that are being interviewed, and there'll be one long day of interviews on Thursday, this Thursday. So looking forward to filling that position. The other item I have is the temporary workforce housing. The request through Master Nardi to move that forward. Their attorney has contacted us and asked us when we can start that project. And so I'm looking for guidance from council if you're ready to move that project forward, as they have agreed to enter into the utility agreement with the city of Brush. So looking for guidance from the council.
Do you want us to give you that guidance right now?
Yeah, I just need to know
Alright.
whether to put on a work session or not.
I'd say put it on a work session.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, get it going.
Okay.
We're good about that, so we can be too.
I have a question before we move along, Monty, about the police chief interviews and the process. So that by the time we meet again on council, are you anticipating to have someone hired?
There's gonna be the 2 panels on Thursday, and we're hoping that they can shortlist that group of candidates even shorter. And then there'll be a meet and greet where I get feedback from the department heads. And then after that, I'll make a decision on who the finalist will be. And then at that point in time, I'll let the council members know what the result was, and then everything being contingent upon background checks and things like that that have to take place.
Somebody asked me, a citizen asked me, if we had final approval, does council have final approval over the police chief? I said no, I didn't believe we would, but
I believe the
asked
code says I just have to bring it back to council.
bring it back.
Make a selection, bring it to council, and then council just ratifies, I guess is what it would be.
Okay, so I guess then we do approve it.
No, it's the city administrator under the administrative code of the city that does the hiring.
So ratifying it, if we didn't ratify it, what would that mean?
Well, it just has Karen's looking it up right now, but we'll look at that and see what it means, but it's just one of those odd things in our code.
I don't think it's odd, because it's a department head position. You're the chief administrative officer of the city, and it makes sense that you do the hiring for the department heads.
Right, and I think that's the way there's another plan that we have for the city of Brush. I can't remember the name of it, but I think Karen's found that sentence, so we'll have Bo look at that real quick.
The other document you can't think of is the administrative plan.
Administrative plan, there we go.
All the words are right there.
Yeah, exactly.
In the city code, it's section 2-5-30, subsection A, says the city administrator, upon the approval of the city council, shall appoint a chief of police who shall be the head of the police department.
So, council does have approval.
Right, so we do the selection process, and then we bring that to the council.
In my mind, envision that as we're basically a stopgap to not do the entire selection process. It's his employee, he does the selection. But in case the city administrator wants to hire his brother, we can say no to something along those lines. But otherwise, a qualified candidate and all those kind of things, we don't get into the muck of all that. So.
Also, I would like, and I talked to Rick, he's not here, but, so I won't speak for Rick, but, I have questions that I would like to forward by, if I get them in Thursday morning, is that soon enough, or if I get them to IVK?
They need to be there by tomorrow. Tomorrow at 5:30, we'll have a meeting.
She's not gonna be able to be there because she's got a conflict, so.
Submit those to Loranda.
By tomorrow?
Mhm.
Okay. Right.
All right. Other comments? Well, I want to make a few comments about the blizzard and the middle school, and like everybody else, I think it went very well. I think for short notice, us kind of working on the fly, the police did excellent, the school did wonderful, everything worked. There were a lot of things, as they were saying, that we can refine and need to think about for other situations, but this time it seemed to go as good as you could expect it to. The, and there were a lot of other people that said they could help, wanted to help. I think that will be one of our dilemmas coming up, is how do we organize that? Because it could be a real problem having too many people show up, too many other things, coordinating, yeah, it needs to be coordinated. But we'll have discussions and we'll talk about that more too. Others? Other comments? Any reports?
I have one thing to say about Rotary. We are changing, the date from October, we're moving it into July, the 5K polio-free run. So I just wanted you to, if you are runners, to be aware that it's gonna be, a different time. You don't have all the way until October to get a plan this year.
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. We are adjourned. 1 minute and we will start our work session.